Shefali is not joined yet. Okay, so we start. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. The Korea Tourism Organization and the Hindu are presenting today a webinar on the future of MICE travel in the wake of COVID-19 with the focus on South Korea. I'm Suresh Seshadri, business editor at the Hindu, and I'll be moderating today's session. At the outset, I'd like to thank the Korea Tourism Organization for sponsoring the webinar. We have today a couple of special guests, Mr. Yong-Suk Kwon, the Consul General of the Republic of Korea in Chennai. Mr. Kwon is a career diplomat who's had postings at Korea's embassies in Finland, Thailand, and most recently in Brazil. Welcome, Mr. Kwon. We also have Mr. Suresh Chukapalli, Honorary Consul General for the Republic of Korea in Telangana, who is the Chairman Emeritus of the Hyderabad-based Phoenix Group, a leading infrastructure and property developer. Mr. Chukapalli wears multiple hats, but most interestingly for today's webinar, he's someone with varied ties to the country given his trade and cross-cultural facilitation roles as an honorary consul. Welcome, Mr. Chukapalli.
Thank you.
Our main panelists this afternoon are Mr. Ashok Jaiswal, Group Head Marketing B2C and B2B at Greaves Cotton. Greaves Cotton, as most of you all might know, is a large industrial engineering and industrial organization. Mr. Jaiswal is a thoroughbred marketing and sales professional with interests ranging from storytelling and team building to travel and the environment. Welcome, Ashok. Ms. Shefali Khalsa is Head Brand Corporate Communication at SBI General Insurance. A thought leader in the Indian insurance marketing space, she has close to 2 decades of experience, largely in the BFSI industries. Shefali is, I think, a little delayed in joining us because there was an urgent IRDA inspection or interaction which happened suddenly at the last minute. So we're still waiting for her to come live with us. Welcome, Shefali. Ms. Aikta Tyagi is Vice President, Special Events and Facilities at Amway India Enterprises. Ms. Tyagi brings with her unique insights gleaned from her role in one of the country's largest direct selling companies. Welcome, Aikta.
Thank you.
Mr. Sandeep Datta is Marketing Manager for India and SAARC countries Korea Tourism Organization in New Delhi. Mr. Datta is a travel industry professional with over 12 years of diversified experience in operations, sales, and marketing, and has been associated with Korea Tourism since 2014. Welcome, Sandeep. I would now like to ask Mr. Kwon to deliver his keynote address. Mr. Kwon.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I want to see all of you in person instead of video conference in the near future. Thank you for having me today. Today, I will talk about 3 things. First, how Korea can achieve the current competitiveness in the MICE industry. Second, how Korea has been successfully controlling the COVID and preparing for the digitization of the MICE industry, accelerated by the pandemic. And third, I will talk about the meaningful recent changes helping Indian peoples to be more familiar with Korea. These 3 issues are closely related. By the Union of International Association, Korea has ranked top 3 international meeting countries for the last 3 consecutive years. And Seoul has also ranked top 3 international meeting cities too. Korean cities, such as Seoul, Jeju, Busan, Daegu, Daejeon, Gwangju are fiercely competing not only with foreign cities such as Singapore, Tokyo, Hong Kong, but among themselves. Internal competitions among Korean cities and MICE companies have greatly contributed to improve its competitiveness. The number 1 in Korea in the MICE industry can become the number 1 in the world, like Korean cars and mobile phones. Korea has its cities have slowly accumulated their reputation by successfully hosting big international events such as 1988 Summer Olympic, 2002 World Cup, 2010 G20 Summit, and 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Olympic. And Korea's image as an example of successful democratization and its rapid economic development, starkly contrasting with North Korea, and Korea's government's strong commitment and support to develop the MICE industry as a new environmentally friendly growth engine, like this event by Korea Tourism Organization, have been playing important role. And the recent increasing popularity of Korean pops, dramas, movies, and fashions have also been turning Korea into one of the most trendy and coolest countries. It is well known, and so no need to reiterate that Korea has the world's best infrastructure, such as airports and the fastest IT networks and the best conference and hotel complexes and medical facilities. But to catch up with other more advanced international cities like Singapore, New York, London, Korea has to overcome lots of new difficulties and challenges, including COVID pandemic and the digitization of the MICE industry accelerated by the COVID. Due to COVID pandemic, the global MICE industry has been greatly disrupted, and Korea has not been an exception. In spite that Korea has been successfully handling the COVID-19 pandemic. Korea has been controlling the pandemic very well without taking any blanket lockdown by effectively mixing the comprehensive test, chase, treat system with excellent IC technology. Korea had developed the best test kits at the very early stage and has been exporting and producing test kits around the world, including India. After COVID, the ability to control the pandemic will become more important factor in choosing the MICE venue, and the countries and MICE organizers will invest more to strengthen their competence to maintain safety from the infectious diseases. During the pandemic crisis, Korea clearly showed the world that it can handle the safety issues very well. I am sure that this will positively contribute to the strengthening Korea's competitiveness as a MICE venue in the future. The digitization of the MICE industry had occurred even before the pandemic, and the pandemic has been accelerating the process. Hybrid MICE, online and offline combination, blockchain, smart contract, and payment for the business, virtual reality, augmented reality, Internet of Things, hologram technologies have been widely experimented in Korea. As you know, Korea is the front runner in the digitization of the meetings, conferences, and exhibitions. In particular, Korean young people's ability to create new business models by taking advantage of the new IT technology is the world #1. The best examples is the Korean idol group BTS's use of the new digital connectivity, including its online release of new songs, active digital communication with its fans, and hosting huge experimental paid digital concerts under the lockdown. As you know, BTS are the most popular K-pop idol group, which has been dominating the Billboard charts recently. I don't think the non-personal MICE can totally replace the face-to-face MICE industry. So it is highly likely that the hybrid online and offline MICE will become the future standard. In this respect, Korea and India can closely cooperate to create new digital framework in the MICE industry by combining Korea's strengths in the hardware and product R&D with India's strengths in the software and IT solutions. This kind of synergy effect have already been proved in the Samsung R&D Center and LG software in Bangalore and need to be extended to other areas and companies. Finally, I will talk about the meaningful recent changes which can help Indian people to be more familiar with Korea. First, recently, Indian government new education policy included Korean language, Hangul, as one of the second foreign languages, reflecting the increase of bilateral economic exchange and the increasing interest in the Korean cultural products. I hope more Indian students have an opportunity to learn Korean language and then to study and in Korea. Second, Korean businessmen are not going back to Korea during the pandemic. In spite of lots of difficulties, all of them are staying in India and trying to their best to revitalize the Indian economy and export more to other countries. I am sure India will have more Korean investments and become the regional and global manufacturing hub for the Korean companies in line with India's Make in India and Make for the World policy. The popularity of Korean cultures are leading to the popularity of Korean cosmetics, processed foods, and fashions. Recently, the Amazon India, the online shopping company, created a special Korean section selling Korean foods, cosmetics, clothing, and other products. I hope ordinary Indian consumers will have an easier access to Korean products via online. During the lockdown, the demand for the direct flight between Chennai Incheon and Bangalore Incheon has been increased among Korean community. The launching of the direct flight will greatly increase people-to-people exchange as well as economic exchange in the near future. I hope today's discussion to become a meaningful stepping stone for the further bilateral cooperation and exchanges in the MICE industry, including establishing new lucrative hybrid business model. Thank you for listening and your interest in Korea. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kwan. That was a very interesting, should I say, gave us a lot of insight into what Korea has been doing to incentivize and encourage travel back to Korea and the whole aspect of the digital model and so on. Yeah, so Mr. Chikapalli, I would like to invite you at this point to share some of your personal insights based on your experiences.
First of all, I would like to congratulate and thank Hindu for organizing such a wonderful webinar on Korea tourism, and it's a real great opportunity for Korea to be promoted this way. And I also thank Korea Tourism for taking up this opportunity. First of all, let me talk about my experiences with Korea, as Mr. Sheshadri was asking me. See, Korea is a wonderful country, one of the most beautiful countries I've ever visited. It has a 5,000 year of history, like similar to India, and the culture of Korea and the family traditions of Korea are almost similar to Indian culture, because they also respect their elders. They have joint families. They love their children so much. So it's a great community which I felt has a great connect to India. Interestingly, I don't know whether I have that much time, but I have a very interesting story which connects India with Korea. And I would say at least about 30% of Koreans have Indian blood. How it is, there is a story or there is a factual truth in the history which says there was one princess from Ayodhya, where our Ram Janmabhoomi is there, Princess Hee Hong Ok. So she had a dream, And in the dream, she was asked to go to Korea by a ship. So she traveled all the way from Ayodhya to Korea. And there she met with the king and married the king. And today, the belief is that 30% of Koreans are the children of that family tree. So that means, in my opinion, 30% of Koreans are our brothers and sisters, and we have a wonderful blood line with them. In addition to that, the memorial of this princess is still there in Korea. And as I understand, every year, about 30 to 50,000 Koreans come and pay a visit to the ancestral home of their ancestor in Ayodhya. So recently, President Moon's first lady, she visited Ayodhya, and the government of UP, government of India, and government of Korea jointly are creating a beautiful memorial in Ayodhya for the princess. So this shows that Korea and India had links thousands of years back. Apart from that, I have traveled to Korea a number of times. It is one of the most beautiful country, one of the most safest country which we can ever go. But the country has beautiful 4 seasons, which we rarely see in our part of the world. They have spring, they have summer, they have autumn, and they have winter. And they have beautiful orchids from December to March, which is a great spectacle to watch. Of late, we have been promoting many film producers to go and do shooting in Korea. In addition to that, they have almost 13 World Heritage Sites. So which is a great historic this thing where they are preserving their heritage. And in addition to that, Korea is great in K-pop. Korea is great in theater, drama. They are one of the beautiful all-time great show called Nanta. It is a cooking Nanta. It's a very beautiful show. And Korea also has great cities like Seoul. Songdo, which is near the new airport, is one of the most modern smart city in the world. So people have to just visit to see what is Songdo. In addition to that, they have Jeju Island, which is also called the honeymoon island of the country. Many honeymoon couples go there. Then we have Busan, which is a harbor city. Then Daegu, which is a textile city. So they have great cities. They have great Hanok villages. They have great palaces. So it is one of the best place to actually visit, enjoy, and some of the best food they have. Indians like, we also eat spicy food, and Koreans also eat spicy food. So I think it's a great opportunity to visit Korea, and it is just next to Japan. So generally what people are doing is whenever they're visiting Japan, they are also going to Korea, which is just 2 hours from Japan. So I feel that the future of Indian travel industry to focus on Korea as a destination would be a great opportunity to showcase Indians rather than going to the same Singapore, Thailand, Japan, and China. So Korea is a beautiful country, the safest country, and one of the good shopping destination also. So I think my time is up.
Thank you, Mr. Chikapalli. Really appreciate it.
I have also heard 2 bells. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chikapalli. Mr. Datta, would you like to now go ahead and make your presentation?
Yes, thank you so much. Almost all that I wanted to speak about has been already been covered by the Consul General and Mr. Chikapalli. Their personal experiences are far more interesting than the presentation I will share, but I will still try to share my screen and share a few slides which I believe will be of importance. I believe my presentation is visible now.
Yes.
Okay, so the COVID success story already highlighted by Consul General Kwan, so I'll skip that. So why we consider Korea as a MICE destination for India? To put it in a nutshell, amongst the points that were already covered, we can also add world-class infrastructure. It's got the world's fastest internet, and virtually the entire country is now free internet. So you can actually literally travel to Korea without a SIM card, be connected to hotspots, and come back. That is how digitized and connected the country is, and great hotels, very good connectivity in terms of flights, and domestic connectivity adds appeal to the MICE traveler. A lot of World Heritage sites already highlighted before. So the total, there are 38 UNESCO heritage sites, and amongst them a temple stay is a very popular concept for smaller MICE groups that they can go and do there. A host of cultural events. The Nanta show, which was pointed out by Mr. Chukopalli, is one of the fantastic shows that cannot be missed if somebody is traveling to Korea for a MICE purpose. And Korean food is very much palatable by Indian traveler, but to add to that, there are 100 plus Indian restaurants also all over the country. So especially for MICE, our experience has shown that the companies are always looking for Indian food to complement the local cuisine, and we've got plenty of options, be it hotels, restaurants, or street food where Indian food is available. Jan food, vegetarian food, all taken care of. So all dietary needs need not be worried at all when they're traveling to South Korea. Couple of places that we prominently promote in India as a MICE place or a MICE product: Seoul, the capital city, the hub of all the MICE and the tourism, and the main point of connectivity for Indian travelers. Of course, the city has everything that you need to do, from shopping to entertainment to nightlife to events and themes and attractions for person to enjoy and experience. Busan, the second largest city of South Korea. I personally like to compare Busan to Mumbai because it is a skyscraper city with ocean on one side and skyscrapers on the other. A great place to enjoy seafood, nightlife, beach, and entertainment amongst your MICE activities. And lastly is Jeju Island. This is South Korea's prized possession. It's an island, an exotic paradise island where you have all the MICE facilities, from casinos to entertainment and everything. And amongst that, a host of water sports and adventure activities that you can do, and a lot of children-friendly activities for family travel also. So these are the three places that we promote in India. And what are the unique experiences that you can do as a corporate when you're traveling to Korea as a MICE? You can do Korean traditional experiences like trying to make Korean kimchi or learning Korean archery. The temple stay program that I mentioned earlier is a huge success for small MICE groups. A varied team building programs. Of that, the number one program in Korea is Taekwondo. So Taekwondo is a martial art which has originated from South Korea, and they're dedicated experience center where MICE groups can go and learn the art for a half-day experience and get a small certificate and get to actually break those bricks with their hands. So that kind of activity that you can do, it's a great team building program for small MICE groups. No country or no place is complete without amazing theme park venues for gala dinners. So there are beautiful venues, be it outdoor or indoor, or unique venues where you can do your gala dinners, where you can have Indian food, Korean food, continental food, or a fusion of all the three. South Korea is a landmark country when it comes to industrialization. So from Samsung to Hyundai to LG, now Kia Motors is making a lot of waves in India. If you want, you can visit these companies' manufacturing facilities and see their processes and do benchmarking for your companies. That kind of programs we help organize. And there are a host of other things like shipping, other semiconductor industry and medical industry that you can also include industry visits of. Amongst the general support from our tourism board, there are some incentives that we offer when MICE groups are going to South Korea. To keep it very simple, what we have done is we have created a very simple criteria to be eligible for support, which is that the group has to be minimum 10 people and they have to be staying in Korea for minimum 2 nights. So any MICE group for 10 people and above going to Korea for 2 nights and above are eligible for some kind of support from our side. Of course, the group support goes up as this group size goes up, but the basic support that the group can get from our side is souvenirs and gift items when they arrive in Korea. The higher the group size, let's say 50 and above, they can also get complimentary tickets to theme parks and local attractions, which adds value and acts as a cost saving for them internally. And for bigger groups, we can also host inspection visits and customized welcome arrivals and host some programs, all free of cost. Roughly $20 to $30 support you can estimate for a per person when we are doing a MICE group of small size, 50 to 100 to 200 people. Before I end, I just wanted to showcase one more highlight. South Korea was the first country in the world to have a large-scale exhibition conducted post the pandemic. So this happened in May, which was the MBC Construction Expo happening at the Kintex, which is the largest MICE venue in South Korea. And the event took place with all the COVID guidelines. And South Korea actually released a white paper or a complete research paper on that, where they highlighted the sanitation measures that have been taken place at the venue, the lobby, the entrance, inside the hall, outside, the entire venue. And they came up with conclusions and the lessons learned. And in the end, they were able to deliver a very, very successful MICE event or exhibition. And till 30 days after the event, there was not a single case of transmission that was detected back to that particular event. So this case study has become a standard model for countries which are adopting this and taking it forward and implementing in their own countries. So it's a small step, but it's something that we take pride in. With that, I will stop my presentation and get to the main part, which is the discussion. Thank you, Mr. Shahzadri. Over to you. I'll stop my screen share now.
Thank you very much, Sandeep. Really appreciate this. So welcome again, Ashok, Ekta, and Shefali. I hope Shefali's been able to join us. Has Shefali joined us? No. Okay. Let's go ahead with Ashok and Ekta. So Ashok and Ekta, I have a common question to both of you, and I'd probably ask Ekta to go first on this, and then you can. Before we start the discussion, most of you know what the MICE stands for. It's not Mickey Mouse, but it's meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions. So that's a broad sort of, should I say, parameter of what this travel is all about. There's an estimate by one research group which says that outbound MICE travel from India is expected to reach $11 billion by 2026. And this is a study which is fairly recent, which has sort of taken into consideration the impact of COVID and so on. So that's a fairly large number that we're looking at. So let me start by asking the two of you all, based on what you all have been doing at your companies, how much has your company generally budgeted or spent on MICE travel annually in the past? I don't need you all to necessarily give me specific numbers, but as a percentage of your marketing spend or budget, and what has been the rationale behind it? What is the main, should I say, thrust that, what is the main interest when you all go ahead and spend on MICE travel? Is it mostly for incentivizing, or should I say your sales force, internal, or your distributor force and external distributor force, whom you want to sort of make them feel good about achieving targets and so on? So could you start, Ekta, by sharing with us exactly?
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. And I must say that I'm very impressed with the presentation, which was just given by Sandeep and, by Mr. Young and Mr. Suresh about South Korea. Honestly telling you, Amway, we do the biggest MICE groups from India. Amway is the #1 direct selling company in the world, and we every year we have international trips, and we take our top leaders there who qualify, and so the minimum group that we do is for 2,000 people, which is called as the Amway Leadership Seminar. And till now, we have explored a lot of countries. We have been to Paris, we have been to Australia, Melbourne. Last year, we had done Istanbul. And before that was Singapore. Singapore was with a family trip, and there were around 4,000 people, distributors along with their kids that we have taken. And we have actually booked the entire Sentosa Island. And before that was Dubai. So, we've almost explored the whole world, but I don't know how we missed South Korea. Maybe this was destined to happen. And the moment, we have the green signal from the government and the world opens up, we can, have a discussion in person, as you said, Mr. Young, and see the opportunity. So for us, MICE is, so these leadership seminars, for us, it is about incentivizing our distributors. Throughout the year, they work hard. They, besides the commission, which they get every month, this is a trip which we organize for them as an incentive and for recognition. So these trips have a very emotive connect with our distributors. In India, we have around 550,000 active distributors. So out of them, throughout the year, they work hard to achieve a certain level so they can qualify for these groups. And there we actually have a grand gala night or a business session where we call them at the forum and we recognize them in front of their people, in front of the company. So it's a big achievement for them. So this year we had actually planned Abu Dhabi, but because of the COVID, we have deferred it for next year. So I'm sure, once the world opens up again, we have the vaccine ready. We all are very hopeful that we will have the events again and maybe more for next year, because everybody's been home for 7-8 months and, looking forward to go out and be together as a family. Amway is a family. We always say that, we are one family. So we're just hoping that in a couple of months or maybe 3 months, 4 months, that the world should open up again and the mid of 2021, our MICE event should start and hopefully we should get back to normal life.
Thanks a lot, Ekta. Ashok, would you like to go ahead and talk to us?
Yeah, absolutely. I think let me first thank all of you for giving a very insightful observation about Korea. Honestly, I learned a lot today about Korea. And thanks, Sandeep, and thanks the entire team over there to take us through the entire thing. See, honestly, tourism is an extremely important segment. See, every time a plane lands, and so many cabs run, hotels get occupied, restaurants are full, and travel and the tour operators thrive, and the local communities actually survive. So tourism actually contributes to the economic vitality and as well as the employment, part of it. And hence, I'm extremely excited to be a part of this discussion. Coming back to what even Ekta was talking about, it's very, very similar to, incentivizing and, motivating the team. I mean, if you see this year, I mean, every year from the last several years, in automotive industry, people have been taking groups and, these groups have been fairly of different pack sizes, I mean, ranging from 100 to 500 and depending upon what kind of, the entire motive is. We have been to countries like Dubai, Southeast Asian countries, Europe, and some other parts of the world. And subsequently, I think, I mean, as far as the new venues are concerned, I mean, we can definitely look at South Korea as one of the destinations, to come, because Japan was also considered by a few companies in the past. The motivation stands in terms of, incentivizing the retail team, the frontline distributors, the retailers, and give them an opportunity, to perform their very best and encourage them, to do scale a new peak in terms of performance. And obviously, I mean, what better way than, to take people out there and, and have an experience of their lifetime, in terms of bringing one family together and, and understanding what has gone well and, taking an ambition to the next level, for the performance. So,
Ashok, if I may interrupt, approximately how much of your marketing budget annually would you be spending, just for an idea?
Yeah. So Suresh, what happens is, I mean, it's very difficult to pinpoint because, if you see people going out, there are several types of people, opportunities. One is the business travel, which happens, the MICE events, which happen, as a part of annual recognition, annual dealer conferences, annual retailer conferences, strategic business conclaves. This kind of things happen. So there are several things which keep on happening. Plus, being in automotive, you keep on learning a lot. World is a small village. You go across to companies and countries where you learn a lot about the tech. So it may so happen that, the technocrats and the tech team, can travel and be a part of one group or be a part of the exhibition. Like I have been a part to in the Engine Expo in Stuttgart, Germany. So a small group goes there and comes back. So there are frequent interventions like this which keeps on happening, and it's very difficult to pinpoint a figure, but we keep a decent amount to this.
Fair enough. Yeah. Thanks, Ashok. Shefali is also apparently joined us now. So could I ask Shefali, I don't know whether you heard the question, Shefali, but I basically just wanted to ask you about approximately what sort of percentage of your annual budget in terms of marketing spend would you all be spending on MICE travel, and what has largely been the rationale as an insurance company for you all to spend on MICE travel. Would you like to share it with us?
Sure. Thank you for inviting me for this webinar, and I apologize for being a little late due to some last minute meeting come up. Coming back to your question, Sureshji, I would talk more from the perspective that the R&R events and MICE that we host for our employees, I would say as a brand, we are very responsible and we are very people-oriented brand, and we do a lot of such R&R activities for our employee base. Unfortunately, since last 6 months, COVID had been a very unprecedented situation, and nobody had predicted about it. It had an impact on all the industry sectors across the globe. Unfortunately, the impact was much bigger on the travel and tourism, I would say. Yeah, I mean, largely speaking about all the segments of MICE had been impacted because of this COVID-triggered lockdown. Talking about the meetings, incentives, and the convention. At least these three out of the four segments of the MICE, these three were able to shift to the digital platform. But unfortunately, the exhibition segment is something that has really seen a complete loss. In fact, there are reports which also supports an anticipation of almost $82 billion loss because of this entire lockdown and slowdown of the tourism, travel and tourism segment. However, I would say since last month, we are quite optimistic. Things are shifting to normalcy, and also with the festivities around the corner, we are hoping that from the organizers, from the company's perspective, I would say things will come back to normalcy. The MICE will bounce back. I would say overall, the MICE that we organize is a wonderful experience, from both perspectives. So MICE as a travel is a wonderful experience, not just for the traveler, for my employee who is traveling, but also for the organizer. And I would say I'm lucky enough to have experienced this, from both the sides, as a traveler as well as an organizer. From the traveler perspective, I would say the MICE is not just the only word MICE. There's a lot more beyond MICE travel for an employee who is traveling with the MICE, under the MICE campaign, I would say. It starts with right from the wow factor of the destination, and of course follows with the entire package of pre-excitement of the travel, the journey towards the destination, and the post-travel flamboyancy that they throw up on the social media. So that entire thing is a package excitement for all our employees, I would say. From the organizer's perspective, I would say it's a double fun. Apart from all this, fun part of the destination to the journey and etc., there's a lot more that all the organizers get into. Right from doing the cost-benefit analysis of the destinations, why we are choosing that, to the crisis of getting the visas in place, being always on the toes in the international destinations to ensure that the entire group follows the protocols and so on. So, but all of this is really good fun. And I'm hoping that with the festivities around and the normalcy around the corner, we'll see the light very soon after the tunnel. In fact, I would also like to talk about some numbers here. That India as a contributor to the overall MICE tourism, worldwide, across the globe, I would say. As a contributor, India is contributing 1.4%. And the historical data also shows that India had been on a very fast track growth in this contribution in the MICE tourism overall. We've seen about the tourism business had been about 25,000 crore INR as on 2018, I would say, and the growth has been at a rate of 8% year on year. So I'm sure we all are very hopeful and very optimistic. In fact, a lot of destinations are also opened up now. But however, I would say from the industry discussions, it has been observed that the domestic MICE will open up first, largely in the Q3, and the international MICE might open up by 2021 for sure.
Yeah. As an allied question to that, Ashok, when do you think, Ekta gave us an idea that she thinks that once a vaccine is available from Amway's perspective, they might be ready to restart travel sometime in the middle of 2021. How soon do you see Reeves Cotton and the industry, larger industry sort of beginning to resume? How close are you all from a general operations standpoint to getting back to operations which sort of existed before COVID sort of clamped you all down?
Yeah. So thanks, Suresh. I think in the sector itself, we can see certain segments, bouncing back very quickly. And but still, there are certain segments which have not, bounced back. This is not champagne and roses all over again. We are still working towards it. The domestic, MICE, as she just talked about, I think the domestic incentives are being rolled out now actually, and at least for the small groups. But as we move ahead, I think 7 gone, 5 left. What I mean is 7 months have gone, and the 5 months have been left, and we are planning very hard with all the enablement required for the sales to happen. The plans have already been put in place, and we want to close that gap as much as possible to recover the lost sale, right? I would say while this phenomenon of copability today, which is more important than the capability today, is actually picking up. I'm also seeing a great comfort factor by all the other people who are involved into the MICE industry. I mean, see the travel and the hospitality industry. I mean, the level at which the things have been changed today, and it's far more comforting to us. So I think on one hand, the good news that the vaccine is about to be there. On the other hand, that the relaxation norms are there. People are getting more cognizant about this infection and disease and taking safety protocols to the highest. I would say, by first quarter of the next year, possibly we could see some, thing, come up. And the only point which I would like to say is that, there's just one hope, that we want to build across with now. Actually, what I say is that hope is to me an acronym which stands for, the health and the opportunity to explore the possibilities to live more and the energizing experiences that you can create, and Sandeep can vouch for it. He's actually done a fantastic presentation today and taken us through, the entire thing. So the question today is, will budget travel be there? And, will budget travel with all the safety protocols, hygiene protocols, enable us to, pick up this destination over other destinations? So this is what is going to help us, make a decision. And I think by not in bigger groups, but in smaller groups for sure, by middle of the May or June, I think we can see some groups traveling.
Probably, Mr. Seshadri, I will intervene in here.
Yeah.
See, as we all went through the pandemic, we should observe that the first reaction by Korea was the fastest in the world, and they were able to contain the vaccine spread, and they truly used the opportunity to also make money out of this. You should have understood that the largest amount of COVID detection kits were quickly manufactured and supplied across the world by Korea. So they have done billions of dollars worth of business in the kits. And the good thing about Korea is they are highly disciplined and they have extremely good research base. So with that, the spread of disease is hardly anything. And they have world-class medical facilities.
Sure.
So this shows that, Korea is one of the safest places to travel in the post-pandemic era. And the second thing, I would get on what Ekta was asking, on the visa side, I can assure you from my brother Kwan's side and my side that the consulates and the embassy can facilitate visas within 24 to 48 hours for any number of large groups or small groups. So that is absolutely no problem. Korea is very, very open for tourism sector, and we can definitely help get the visas easily without going through so much of bureaucracy in the system. So,
Thank you, Mr. Kofi. Yeah,
with
that's
that,
very helpful,
I
yeah.
end it. Yeah.
Ekta, a question to you. When you do resume travel, MICE travel, what would be the key, should I say, determinant, or should I say priority? What would be driving you to decide, okay, at this point, let's, assuming you say that, okay, vaccine, is that going to be the main determinant, that availability
You know,
of the
see,
vaccine?
I'll tell you, Suresh, individual travel will start in a couple of months. It's already started domestic. I will be flying to Dubai to meet one of my partners there after Diwali. So that will resume. But when we talk about MICE, you know, when you're taking a large volume of people, say 2,000, or you're taking their kids, 4,000 people, you know, it's a whole lot of responsibility. You can, you know, answerable for yourself or your family, but when you're taking so many people, and you know, that's like, it's a responsibility on your shoulder. So I'm sure keeping all these things in mind, and Amway, I know as a company, but always for them, people come first.
Yeah.
Our employees, our distributors are the first. So for them, the utmost importance is their safety and security. So only, I think we will resume MICE only once the vaccine is out, and not just the vaccine out, but how fast it gets distributed. And also, as I was talking to you earlier, you know, you never know, like in Spanish flu, the corona came and it just like the effect goes off. So, you know, there can be a lot of things. Within a month, everything changes. Now, India is showing a slowdown on the cases, and you never know, by December, it may go up, it may go down. Nobody can predict that. Nobody can say, you know, this will happen after 2 months. You never know, it just vanishes completely. Or the vaccine is very effective, it may not be effective. So but for us, safety for our people is the most important thing. And we are actually, I have a very big event next year, which is in March. We postponed it from December to March in Abu Dhabi for 2,000 people. We will only do it once we are 100% sure that our people are safe in that particular area in Abu Dhabi. And also, when we resume our work, the first thing when we choose a destination, the main thing, as Mr. Chukapalli said, you know, for us, the visa. So when you're taking 2,000 people, you know, to guarantee visa for everyone. And there are people who will be first-time travelers also, who got the passport also first time. You know, many countries, what happened is, oh, you're a first time in Europe, it is a big challenge. Then we have to go talk to the consulate. We have to please beg them, please give him a passport.
Sure.
We take the responsibility, Amway will take it. So visa, then in certain countries, there are biometrics. To get biometric of 2,000 people is not very easy. And that also pan-India. Then is the flight connectivity. Now, after the pandemic, we would prefer having direct flights anywhere we travel, because a transit is always not very safe, plus it's time consuming. So a direct flight is what we always prefer. Then, of course, our relationship with the tourism board, what all, you know, that we have discussed, it's been done for us. Actually, tourism board plays a very, very big role for us to actually decide on the destination. And then venues for hosting 2,000 people, the hotel capacities, we take people for 4 nights. So, you know, so one night we have a gala night, one night we give them free for shopping. And then we have the business session one day. So there are 4 nights event which happens. So all these parameters really count for us to shortlist a destination.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Ekta, I think you have already shortlisted Korea, because, you know, all the questions you have, we have the response, and we will give you all the attention you want. In addition to that, we have wonderful Indian embassy in Korea. They respond very positively for any Indian citizen who goes there, and the ambassador herself will be available for any kind of support. So don't worry, and the next destination should be Korea for you.
Sure, sir. Anytime. I hope it comes true for all of us, and the world opens, and we'll be the first one to come for a site inspection.
Done. Please let us know.
Yeah, thank you.
Shefali, I have a question to you. From your perspective, SBI General Insurance's perspective, what would be the key priority when you do decide to resume? Now, everybody is talking about a vaccine, and while it's understandable that, you know, you would like to ensure that when you do take a bunch of people, colleagues and their families along overseas, you want to make sure that they are going to be very safe. But we are living in an uncertain world, and just like 6 months ago, no one knew where we were going to be today. We don't know how soon the vaccine is going to be ready or how effective it's going to be, as I also mentioned. But there is this aspect that some destinations in some countries are probably taking a lot more effort in ensuring that their countries safe to travel to, and they're taking a lot of protection measures to ensure that places are sanitized and safe. So from a perspective of someone who might be organizing travel for your corporate at some point in time, or being part of the planning process, what would you consider the most important priority? Because obviously you also want to ensure that there is the incentive aspect happening, because you don't want your business to suffer or get, should I say, hampered by the inability to incentivize travel.
Sure. So I would say I'm talking more from the company perspective, wherein we are very people-oriented, employee-oriented, and these MICE trips that we organize for employees are also motivational and rewards and part of the rewards and recognition, I would say. So the post-COVID situation, yes, it's a bit challenging for us as an organizer also. I would say from the company perspective, it is me and my team who organizes this MICE and the events overall in the company. So yes, maybe we'll start with the smaller groups in near future. And there are certain parameters I'm sure we all are very, very cognizant about. To start with, I would say the one is the protocol on the easing out of the restrictions and advisories. Then the second would be the safety parameters of the destination country or the location, I would say. If it's a domestic location or it's an international location, but the safety parameters plays an important role. What are their protocols in following these safety parameters? Third is the number and frequency of the flights from the origin and the destination country, I would say. The fourth important point is the industry-friendly policies. The fifth would be in case there are any subsidies possibility between the two countries, not just countries, but at least the destination and the place where we are finalizing the stay and accommodation. The sixth point I would say would be the special emergency medical facilities. At least the possibility of this special medical emergencies, irrespective of the travel insurance. That's very important in the current scenario, because the medical aid is something which is a way fear, I would say, when you travel abroad. And the last point, I would say the cost benefit analysis before we finalize on the destination, because when we, I'm sure once we open up with the normalcy in place, there will be multiple options available, not just the destinations, but also the country-wise also, we'll have a lot of options. So in that also, how much can we justify one destination over to the other? That also plays an important role when, as an organizer, we funnel down to that option.
Thanks, Shefali. Ashok, what do you think would be your key priority as and when you decide to restart travel?
I think, Suresh, most of the points have already been covered with respect to, lesser flights or safety and other things. I mean, one thing is that, we have people of different age groups traveling with us, and majority of the people are in a senior age group or, beyond 40 or 55 or 60. So I think adequate, safety and precautions have been taken for them, because they are the ones who are actually more cautious today about this factor. I would say social wellness will play a very, very important role, and I saw in the presentation, I mean, the Korea is all about, beyond business, it's also about the, the body, mind, and the soul. I mean, it connects to all the parameters. So something which is connected to this point, as well as, sustainability aspect. I mean, we are very, very conscious today. There was never, ever a time before, ever in the history, that we were so conscious and caring about the planet and the self. So I think sustainable tourism or ecotourism, as you want to frame it, I think would also play a very important role. And you have all the nature walks, nature trails, cycling by the beach side, and within the jungles and everywhere. I think if you have that kind of facet available, it's very, very lucrative and important for us, because people want to get away from the crowded destinations, right? And other Southeast Asian countries are very crowded, sometimes. So we want to be safe. We want to be on our own. And today, you need all you need is a laptop and a Wi-Fi connectivity, and you can work from anywhere in the country, or in the world rather, right? So that's going to be the new home. And I think that is where the small group meetings or the small group strategic meetings can also be taken outside, and we will look up to that. Rest, I think every point is covered.
Sure, thank you. Could we have some questions from the audience?
Mr. Seshadri,
yeah.
Before the questions, I would like to tell you one thing.
Yeah.
Korea and many of these countries would not like to have tourists before the vaccine comes. So I had spoken to two of my friends who are the chairmen of the vaccine companies in Hyderabad, and they are very bullish that their vaccine is going to be out by January. So in all probabilities, only post-vaccine it is safer for anyone to travel, both outside the country, and even countries like Korea welcoming the people would also happen only after the vaccine comes and they feel everyone is safe. So that
That's
means
an important point to make.
let us see that we look at only travel post June or July.
Sure.
Because even after vaccine comes also, first 3 to 4 months, people will mentally be not prepared to move. And the other side also, they will not be mentally prepared to welcome by issuing visas and things like that. So let us safely assume that July would be a safer time.
Sure, fair enough, sir. Are there any questions, Vikram, which you could share with us, which we can ask the panelists?
Mr. Shadri, if I may add something
Go ahead,
quickly. So, of course, all points of view very much noted, which have been highlighted by the panelists. I would just wanted to add something to what Mr. Chukupalli said, is that, of course, travel post-vaccine is what is recommendable for international. But a lot of things actually work in favor for South Korea as a destination. We are already having direct flight connectivity from Delhi and Mumbai, and Consul General Kwon during his address mentioned the interest level of direct flights from Chennai and Bangalore. So if that happens, that also adds on to the direct flight connectivity from India. And South Korea right now is going into the winter season, and the winter gets extremely cold December, January, February, and our data and our research and our history shows that Indian people do not travel to Korea unless for business till April starts, because till March it's extremely cold. So in any way, there is no MICE going to take place before April, and by that time we will be in a very, very comfortable position to know whether the world is open or not. And if the world is open, then South Korea can really fit into the criteria of a lot of rewards and recognition programs that the companies are planning for the next year. Yep.
But let me tell you, Ashish, your incentive is very weak. $10, $20, no one wants to take that incentive. So we may have to do something better than that.
No, so that's the standard incentive. Of course, the companies we are talking to here, if they come and approach to us, if they even give us the opportunity to give a destination bid presentation, it will have much more from our side in terms of value adds and services and incentives than the $20 that I mentioned in the presentation.
So let us be more proactive to get more people.
And sir, you have already talked about issuing visas at a very rapid pace. So I'm sure that is giving a lot of assurity to everybody and every audience who is listening to us today.
But that is not enough for Amway and Greaves and SBI. They need more incentive from the tourism ministry. So let us push the ministry to be more attractive.
Right, sir.
A few questions which seem to have come so far. One is Korea safe to visit us? Is Korea safe to visit right now?
It is absolutely safe, even today. Today.
Then what are the visa requirements for Indians traveling as tourists? I think individual tourists is what someone wants to know.
As long as they don't have any criminal record, there is no problem.
Okay. And there's somebody asking, how can youngsters be a part in promoting the tourism industry, considering careers associated with the tourism industry?
Okay, I would like to take that in, and I will ask them if they can just go into the Facebook and find Korea Tourism Organization India page and join us. There is a lot of exciting stuff that we're doing, engaging with the youngsters in terms of Korean cultural promotion, and they can be part of our ambassador team.
Lovely. Are there any more questions, Vikram?
That's about it.
Yeah. Okay. So, Mr. Datta, your director, would he like to talk to us?
Mr.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, good
can't
afternoon,
see you.
everybody. Yeah, I can see you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, it's a really pleasure for me that you could all join our discussion. So today's discussion has given us a lot of feedback, which will help us plan better for the future. I want to encourage everyone to consider Korea seriously for the next company event or business meeting. As you know, Korea Korea offers one of the best infrastructure in the world to create a safe and secure environment right from the moment you arrive at the airport and throughout your entire stay in the country. Domestic tourism in Korea has already started, and as you saw from the presentation, big events have also started to take place. So we are getting ready to welcome international guests, including India soon. I encourage everyone attending this session that whenever you plan for overseas travel for your organization, please don't hesitate to contact KTO anytime. So we'll provide you all the information and help you prepare your detailed day-to-day itinerary. My office will help you pick the right hotel and the right service provider for your arrangements. In addition to that, as explained by Sandeep, our office will also provide attractive incentives which will make everyone alive in Korea more welcome. I believe that the role of our office in India will be even more important than before that, and I will make sure that our office is always updated with the latest information about travel to Korea. With this, I'd like to once again say thank you to all for joining us today. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Especially for,
thank you.
Yeah.
I skipped the poll. Could you all run the poll questions quickly?
Poll questions.
This is for all the participants who want to, yeah. Results.
I hope the poll question results will give us some sense of what was achieved through this discussion and what the audience actually believes.
Yes, Sandeep, I think definitely.
Okay.
Very encouraging poll results, I must say.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's been a pleasure hosting you all this afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chakupalli. Thank you, Ashok. Thank you, Mr. Sandeep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you, Mr. Seshadri and the Hindu for all the support and encouragement. I'm sure we are all available for all the panelists to ping us anytime they want for our support. Thank you.
Sure. So Suresh, can you please enable the coordinates of everybody in the panel?
Sorry?
Can we have the coordinates of everybody in the panel later?
Sure. We could do that. Definitely.
Also, I would like you to help me if I can get the tourism board's presentation which Sandeep had just given. If you can forward it to us, please. That would also help. Along with the contacts for everyone. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, everybody.
And if allowed, can I conclude with two sayings?
Go ahead.
So travel is the only thing that you buy, but makes you richer. Richer in experience, richer in memories. And the second saying I would like to say that in considering the COVID situation right now, the travel enables a mind to be stretched by new experiences so that it can never go back to the old dimensions, which I think is very necessary right now for everybody. Everybody needs a break right now.
Shefali, you have inspired me to say one line, and for the, discussion. I think the only thing which we need to do from now till, the winters subside and, the travel picks up is just clear the fear. That's it.
Well said.
Thank you, everybody.
Can I
Thank
add
you.
one,
Thank
just
you.
one point?
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Kwan wants to add something.
Yes, Mr. Kwan.
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, I am covering the South India. After arriving here, I found that the South India has a lot of beautiful, natural sites, also, traditional remains. Also, as the Suresh mentioned, South Korea and, the India has a lot of, historical connections. So I really want to have a more, ordinary Korean peoples in particular in South Korea. So, comparing to the northern part of India, so the southern part of India is not well known. We have a direct flight between Delhi and Incheon and Mumbai and Incheon, but we don't have any direct flight between Chennai and Incheon or Bangalore Incheon. I will promote the beautiful South India among ordinary, Korean people. So that's my point. So I want to have more Korean peoples in particular in the South India. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Brother,
Kwan.
you also have our blood, so don't forget that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
아,
you.
용사님 처음 뵙겠습니다. 감사합니다. 시간 내주셔서 감사합니다.
Yeah.
네. Thank you for.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Stay safe.
Ano ba? Much to ma.